Alright, so here's another Chip Hammer battle report. If you listen to any noises around me, or maybe music, it's because I'm recording the notes during my work shift. So, anyway. So pretty much it's a 2,000 points battle. And it's going to be lizardmen versus the Empire. From the side of the Empire, we got a unit of 5 knights. Things were equipped with lances and shields. There's a general and a bard at Warhorse. He's carrying a great hammer. He also has full plate armor and shield, I think. Yeah, great cannon under it. Next to it is a master engineer with a Hotchlang long rifle, and he is accompanying a Hellblaster volley gun. Next to it there is a steam tank. I think it was equipped with the Hotchlang long rifle. I'm not sure. I think that didn't have any pigeon bombs, anything. Right next to it, I'm going from right to left, of course, a unit of 10 archers. Behind it, there's a little bit of a forest behind. There's a unit of 11 swordsmen. I think they were the detachment of the unit of halberdiers, but they didn't really play any fundamental role in the battlefield, so it doesn't matter. And right next to it, it may look like a war altar, but it is actually a celestial hurricanum. And we're playing it with Warhammer Fantasy rules, kind of adapted to Warhammer, the old world. So for example, things like it has an 18-inch bubble of +1 to hit. That rule is still respected. And it can still cast Storm of Shemtek. And the way that we worked it out is, for example, when you take, I think it's the Fireball, for example, it has a casting value of 8+, and it's 2d6 dice with strength 3 and I think -1 armor piercing. Storm of Shemtek on the other side is a 1d6 strength 4 hit with no armor save allowed. So since that is the case, we're just going to use it as a 9+. Because of it can do a lot of damage, or you can just cause 1 wound. It does on an average it would cost 3. So I think 9+ is a good enchant, like a good casting value. And of course it can be tripulated by the wizard, which you can use this wizard's skill level to just cast it. I mean the 2+ if it's a 4+, and the 1+ if it's like wizard level 2. And on top of it, of course, there's a wizard with battle magic. Right next to it, there's, I think it was like 40 halberdiers, full command. Captain Battle Standard Barrier, I think he's carrying the Imperial banner. And I think that, an Arc Lector of Sigmar. And next to it, there's a unit of riflemen, 10 of them. Now, this was the AI playing this, no fancy weapons, no magical weapons, not a lot of things. This was AI. And on my side, I was playing the lizardmen. I'm going to go from right to left. There was a unit of, I think it was like 10, I think it's 10 Soros Warriors, mounted Soros Warriors. Next to it, at this moment, I got the miniatures, but they have not been painted because I commissioned this 2 particular miniatures to be painted by my brother, so he hasn't come through yet. So I'm just going to use some other units to cosplay as them. But the ones that are on the right side of the Colborne Riders, it's Razor Unpack, and on the left side, in front of the huts, it's Salamander Pack. Right next to it is a unit of 22, I think it was Soros Warriors with full command. Next to it, a unit of 12, I think it was 12, yes, 12 skinks with javelins and shields. A Slant Priest, Battle Standard Bearer, General, etc., etc. And he was using high magic in this battle, yep. Next to the general, on the right side of the slant, there's a skink priest. He was using elementalism, level 2, not bad. In front of the slan, a unit of 10 Temple Guard and also a Saurus All Blood accompanying them, so a big bubble of strong units over there. Next to them, a unit of skink skirmishers with, skinks with blowpipes, and behind that, five jungle swarms. So that's the full list. I get to play as the lizardmen, and the first turn was for the Empire. Alright, so turn number 1, Empire. He advanced or marched his knights along with his general. Steam tank made his roll for steam points. I think he got like 6, something like that. Remain with Celestial Hurricanum, the archers, and the swordsman behind, because there was not much point in moving them. He said it was like the justification was to keep a little bit of background defense. I guess since some of my units had the scouts ability, which unfortunately I didn't use. This is like kind of like the first time I used Lizardmen, and I used like 8 skinks. But with time, you start understanding or utilizing certain rules. But I didn't remember I have scouts, so I could have just popped them behind his or in his within his deployment zone, and could potentially be taking out the cannon or the Hellblaster. But well, I guess for the next battle I will just remember. Anyway, so the big block of 40 halberdiers with the battle stand of error and the arc lector move forward, just as well as the 10 riflemen. And I think he casted Oaken Shield. I think his wizard had like battle magic, and he had a conveyance spell. I think he had a hex as well, or something like that. But as far as I remember, he had arcane urgency, so he has a conveyance spell. He had Oaken Shield and another 2, perhaps Fireball, I guess he could have. But anyway, that was turn number 1 for the Empire. Turn number 1 for Lizardman. So the formation was not really what I was expecting, or because I have random formation when I make these army lists, and I just push all the information through the AI and just see the random results that it gave me and adapt to the situation, because that's the way that I like to play it better. That's the way that I can enjoy the battles a little bit more. Anyway, so I advance, going from left to right. I advance from the left. I advance the skinks into that ruin over there, so they're taking cover. Since they're a skirmisher unit, they can actually take cover and just safeguard themselves inside buildings and things like that. Close formation units cannot do that. I think open formation units as well cannot. Only skirmishers, I think, or small amounts of soldiers when it comes to, for example, like the tower, that kind of battle style. Anyway, next to it, I advance the jungle swarms. They cannot march; they just like move forward. The block of the battle stand of error, Soul Blood, and Temple Guard move forward. I move the other skinks with javelins, just to get away from the range of the Hellblaster, and the skink priest as well, just to get away from the shots. So my idea basically is try to just like as I did with the Empire counts, trying to just lure them in and just charge them with everything that I have. Because my idea for the game is just to destroy perhaps the big block with the Captain and the Arc Lector, and make that big unit run and try to chase it down so I can destroy it, and destroy the unit with the General and the Knight. If I can get a cannon or something like that, that will be a plus. But I have absolutely nothing in my arsenal to destroy the tank. I can pin him down. Maybe I can target him with the jungle storms, or in a more desperate case, perhaps with the skinks. But thinking about like I could use maybe magical vortexes to pin him in a position, but I have absolutely no spell or no unit at all to counter him or to destroy it. So that cannot be my main focus. But let's go to the next one. Alright, Empire, turn 2, I think, yeah, turn 2. So, just a big block moving forward. Oh yeah, the knights, along with what happened in the last turn, let me just double check that. Yeah, in this turn, his knights charged against the unit of Soros Covan riders, and between his help, I think I managed to make a one maybe with the salamander or maybe with the razordon. I don't remember. It was not really anything significant. And his cannon pretty much took my razordon completely. The bullet just killed the beast, and it was in range also of his hell blaster, and he landed like a massive shot to it. So yeah, it's the thing about like poor placement of the units. So for next time, it's better to just like move better to a safer position. But my idea, as I said before, it was to destroy that general and that unit to try to get those points quickly before getting shot by the cannon and just completely destroyed by it. But yeah, I mean, like, didn't took that in consideration. Just like I lost two of my units. On the other side, the Soros warriors are moving a little bit like to the right side, was still keeping in cover from the hell blasters until at least they can get into a more realistic charging range. Because my idea is just to use those Soros warriors to charge that unit with the general and try to cause some wounds over there. And just by combat resolution, maybe making it flee and then destroy it. The rest, the steam tank is moving to a very dangerous position in which pretty much it can shoot my unit with this land. So obviously for me, the best would be to just charge the unit or engage them in combat so I can avoid getting shot or getting the steam gun template on my main unit. But yeah, his big block just moved forward. His archers are moving forward, keeping a little bit of distance with the tank. I think he threw Storm of Shemtek or something like that. Let me see if this was some wounds. Yeah, I mean, like I suffered 3 wounds to my Temple Guard. So probably it was a combination of maybe Fireball or Storm of Shintek, but Shintek really does the damage over there. Yeah, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so in this one, yeah, so the pretty much the knights and the general cost enough wounds to make the Gold One riders just flee. Running, but at least with the cold blood roll, you can just roll 3 dice and discard the highest, so you have a higher chance of just staying, or at least just making a fall back in good order and move. And that's exactly what they did because they got leadership 8, so at least they stay. For the rest, the Source Warriors didn't move, neither did the Skicks with javelins. The battle line pretty much stays the same. I think he didn't do anything besides this. This is only the combat resolution. Oh, there's a couple of wounds that I landed on the rifleman from the blow pipes of the skinks that are taking cover in the temple. And I think I managed to put the Fury of Cain on my unit of Temple Guard, but I'm not quite sure because that was one of them, and I tried to land. I think it was that fiery convocation upon the halberdiers, but it didn't land as well. It was dismissed by the level 4 wizard. Anyway, so let's go to the next one. And the next one, I decided to go all gun-ho against his unit of halberdiers. And I issue a challenge, which in hindsight now I realize that that was like a terrible decision to do, because I mean, like, I would have get a much better, like, I didn't realize it, but I would have gotten a much better combat resolution if I could just allocate all the attacks from the Sword Soul Blood and the rest of the units that just piled on into that unit of 40 halberdiers, and probably I could have made it flee. and they just chased them down and just destroyed the whole unit because I had so many units to chase him down. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I landed a couple of hits on the arc lector because I issued a challenge. The arc lector just responded to it, and I couldn't kill him completely. You know, I landed like 2 wounds on him, and he didn't land any of them back. I charged with the skinks. I charged with the temple guard. I charged with the unit of swarms, just in order to cause as much damage as possible and try to win by combat resolution and destroy that unit. Because on the right side of the flank, of course, the Cold One Riders didn't manage to get anything from them. I lost already the Razorton, the Salamander pack, and the Steam Tank is getting really close. So the only way that I could turn this around is literally just like destroy that unit of Halberdiers, get all those juicy points, and perhaps the Soros Warriors can take a couple of shots from the Hellblaster if they don't manage to make that charge, that long charge, and then later on charge, maybe the Cold One Riders could stay in position. Take a couple more shots at the Rifleman, and I think I didn't land any wound with it, but that was like pretty much my last desperate attempt. So yeah, Sour's Cold Blood locked in combat with the Warrior Priest, with the Arc Lector, and just a big pile of units just charging on all sides. So it didn't work as expected. The problem was the Sour's Cold Blood didn't manage to kill the Arc Lector, and on the rundown over, the Halberdiers took initiative before the Temple Guard. That's because the Temple Guard's initiative is 2 and regular human initiative is 3, and you don't get it taken down because of the halberds, because it's the same thing, the same weapon. So he managed to land a good amount of wounds on my Temple Guard, and that just puts my number even lower of the amount of attacks that I desire to do against his unit. The Skinks didn't land much hits. It's understandable. It's not really a very good melee unit. It's more a harassment unit. The Jungle Swarms managed to make some because, of course, you got poison wounds with 6s and things like that. Obsidian Blades, it's also good, but I think I casted also like Plague of Rust upon his unit, so they didn't have any armor save, but he managed to make one of his prayers to Sigmar, in which he gets like a 6+ ward save, and he also landed Oaken Shield, which gives him a 5+ save. And the reason behind it is it was just like just in case I don't get the casting, well, I'm going to try to get this blessing, and of course with that without the armor save, of course it's an advantage, but with a ward save, it's even the way of landing hits or landing wounds in the unit, it gets a little bit more complicated. So yeah, I mean, like not looking good. Landed maybe a couple of shots on that unit of Riflemen, and positioning the Soros Warriors to be able to charge that unit of the General and the Knight. So let's see what happens. Alright, so I think it's turn number 3 for the Lizardmen, maybe? Yeah, because I managed to make the Soros Warriors charge into the unit of the General and the Knights, but big problem. He landed so many wounds on my unit of Soros Cold Bloods, on the Cold One Rider, sorry, that they just fled, and they fled through the scenery and they get completely destroyed. So I'm down in points like really bad. I really need to kill one of these units. Since I got the flank charge and maybe I can land a couple of good hits on that unit, maybe I can kill the Knights, and maybe by combat resolution just take the General with them. But I'm not confident at this point. As you can see, the Skinks with Javelins that were charging the unit of Halberdiers are gone, because the Steam Tank managed to just use his Steam points to charge. The impact hits took a lot of Skinks out, and then he used his Grinding Wheels ability and just completely liquefied that unit. Now, at least the old blood managed to kill the Arc Lecter and landed a couple of good hits on that unit, as well as I think I was down to 3 Temple Guards, just the champion, the banner, and and the musician. So not good. The swarms as well did maybe a couple of ones. Nothing good in the spells department. He couldn't land any more spells with his units. Because everything is locked in combat, but he managed to cast again Oaken Shield, and I think he was not even using like the +1 hit of the Celestial Hurricane and Bubble at this point, but it didn't really matter. I mean, he was still landing hits and he was still taking my best units out, so it's not looking good for the Lizardmen. Let's just go to the next one. Alright, so I think it's like Empire or Lizardman. I think it was Empire turn 3. And the whole unit of swarms, what was left of the Temple Guard. Now it seems like the Temple Guard is complete, but that's because they're in a block of 10, and I just used some dice as reference, just like, okay, so I just put a couple of red dice just to exemplify the ones, just to make it a little bit easier to have the reference instead of just taking the miniatures out of just blocks of infantry. Whereas just units like that are like separated, kind of like skirmisher units or cavalry units, things that don't really need like a movement tray to move, then I just remove them by hand. But whereas units of infantry, they just kind of like skeletons or like soldiers and things like that, I just reference dice. So it may seem like it looked like a full Temple Guard unit, but it's quite the contrary. There's at least 3 of them there. I think they managed to kill several of the Helvediers and make them flee. But they didn't flee. They just like fall back in good order because of they have their Captain BSB over there. So because of the amount of wounds, they didn't manage to well, I mean, like that because of the amount of wounds, that they didn't pass and then stayed. They had like I think they have like leadership 9 now with the captain, leadership 10 with the general. So it's a pretty good save. If you got like twice chances. Of course, if you have to get double ones or things like that, then it's most obviously that you're just gonna fall back in good order most of the times. To give ground, it will be pretty much impossible. And since they were like locked in position, it would be impossible for them to move as well. The only thing was to make them flee, but that wasn't the case. So, and they landed, or they ended in this position because the tank was right behind them. If they had fled and then crash into the tank, then the whole unit would be destroyed. But since they fall back in good order, they just turn around and they just stay 1 inch away from the tank or from that unit, but also that would mean that they would be in 1 inch of my unit of Temple Guard because everything was cramped into that position. So they just stay as close to the tank, and that was the best way to resolve that problem. So yeah, I make it flee. But here's the problem. Now I'm open for all the cannonballs to just get shot at my slant. Because it seems like the Temple Guard are there, but if he manages to get 1 hit in my unit, that will pretty much just destroy the whole unit completely. And I think that's what happens in the other one. And on the other side, on the other battle, which is the Knights and the General against the unit of Soros Warriors, I just suffer massive wounds from the general. He just hits really hard, and now he's just going to reform and just hit with his knights as well, because I didn't manage to get any good hits on them. Even though I got 2 attacks and I got the support attacks of the spears and everything, it wasn't enough. He just managed to make sufficient wounds, and since he still has his preceptor and still has his banner over there in that unit, Just any wounds that I could cause, they wouldn't really matter. It has leadership 10, so it's pretty much impossible to just break that unit. It was like wishful thinking, but it didn't work. Anyway, so up to the next one. Alright, so Empire turn 4 and the last picture. This is where I concede pretty much the victory to the Empire, which is the AI. This is the first time that he defeats me, so yeah, there's much to learn about this. The whole problem was, I think it was on my side, obviously. He had an advantage, clearly, because of the steam tank. That doesn't necessarily win you battles. It moves really slow, and you can just, like, literally just, run circles around it, and it can be negated really easy with maybe magical vortexes, obstructions, bottlenecks, any of those kind of things. So you can target it with like shitty units, chaff, any of those things can really negate the steam tank. So it's not really how do you say it? Like an aggressive unit per se, but it can, if it's armed correctly and if it's used correctly, it can really cause some damage. It has pitch and bombs. It can have a sniper rifle on top. And if it gets to a really good position, because I think the thing with the steam tank is just use your points as fast as possible to try to get as close to the enemy, maybe middle of the field or something like that, and then just start unleashing your weapons. Your pigeon bombs, you start unleashing your rifle and your cannon, or if you're in close or something's getting close to you, just use your steam gun, just wipe them out. So it's like a mobile turret, that unit. But as I said before, it can be negated pretty easy. So this, the only thing is like it's like the steam thing is kind of like a statement. It says, "Here I am. You gotta deal with me," and I think that's a very dangerous thing because you start configuring your battle line or whatever you got. If you get a random list or you have, or you're creating a list, taking in consideration that perhaps the other guy is going to use the steam tank, it just makes you try to use every single effort or anything that you have on your list to try to destroy that unit. And sometimes you could just simply negate it, destroy the rest of the army, and then just leave the steam tank just rambling around, and you would probably win by majority of points. But of course, so it's not a thing about the list because I got pretty good units on my side. Problem is that I didn't remember to use my scouts rule. With my scouts rule, probably I could have just taken out the tank, taken out the great cannon, and then subsequently, perhaps taking out also the hell blaster, or at least making it focus either on are you going to take care of the scouts, or are you just going to receive the charge of the Soros warriors? So maybe just destroying that battle line or destroying those guns could have changed the battle for me. The other thing was just putting the salamander and the troglodyte, the razordon, just in range of getting destroyed. It was like a pretty bad decision. I should have just used them for melee, and it could have just helped me better. Just charge on the flanks of the what was the name of these guys, of the knights and the general, and perhaps it could have been a better outcome. But not remembering the scout rule, not charging that unit and exposing them to cannon fire, and the other one was not bad. I mean, like, just for reference, or just next time, the important thing is to remember, all right, what will be better for my hero? Issuing a challenge, taking out his hero, which potentially he could also not, or just landing these hits over here and just causing more damage because I got the advantage here by flank charges and all these things, and systematically making him lose in the combat resolution, making him flee, and then pursuing him so you can destroy them. That would immediately just destroy the battle standard and the arc collector in the process. But it was a little bit of a hush decision in the moment. It's like, I'm just going to issue a challenge against your arc collector, and that proved to be a mistake. But anyway, it's like overall, I think like This was one of the. This was a very interesting battle, and I'm starting to perfect the way in which I can just create these battles and just make it as random as possible with random deployments and random lists and random units and random everything as detailed as possible. Only sometimes when I ask this AI to create these lists, I just tell them at the end, just leave 300 points freedom just to be able to allocate magical weapons or to allocate all these kinds of things. So it's easier to just concentrate on, okay, here are the magical weapons and here are the lores of magic, so you could choose randomly from those and things like that, and so it's a whole process, But the important thing is the decision making. You get an AI that can analyze images, that can make decisions, and that understands somehow the whole fundamentals of the game. Because there were times in which I was pointing, okay, you got a range of this, or you can see that, or you can, and he justified it, and because of the images that I keep sending to it, and it understood that it had a clear visual on certain units to target them, and understood pretty much what the whole units on the battlefield were. And the feedback is very good, and the consultation of rules as well is very, very fast, and the synergy is kind of working even more. It's improving time and time again. So I guess for the next ones it's going to be even more streamlined. But what I recommend is having the lists on screenshot. Once you make it an old world builder, I think is the application to make Warhammer the old world lists. So once you have the lists on the old world, and you have the screenshots of the magical items and all these things, keep them over there in files, maybe on your phone or something like that. So you could just show it to them, it's okay, you choose that unit. Now, would you like it to have this? Let's say, obviously you go by the logical things. Sometimes you can think, okay, so maybe some small units, you really don't want them with full command, because it's extra points for a unit that's just going to be chef. But most of the times you want them with full command. So it's maybe you make 10 units of 5 archers or 10 units of 5 riflemen or crossbowmen, and you want them all to have full command, because you're looking to make simultaneous charges after shooting or something like that, and you want those banners to start stacking up. It's I got this banner and this banner, this banner and this musician and this banner and this musician. So they start stacking up, and then they can really cause some damage to the other unit, whether if it's a unit of 10 or your unit of 5, But you can stack those banners, especially against vampire counts. They work because you can just stack combat resolution, and what it does is you got these small units just simultaneously attacking big units. And even if they get destroyed, another one just takes its place. So you can just keep stacking those combat resolutions and just making them die by crumbling up things like that. Or they can work to just stop other small units, maybe just stop them on their track, so you can just reconfigure your strategy. So there's multiple ways that it can be used. Yeah, overall, I think it's. I think I'm going to just upgrade the numbers, the points of the battles a little bit more, because of course it's if it has gotten to this point in which I have a pretty good synergy going on, I think it just can get better, and I can see more units displayed on the battlefield if I go for 2,500 points or 3,000 points, and so I can display as much characters as possible, as many units as possible, with random lists, of course, and yeah. I recommend it, obviously. I mean, if you have somebody to play, or to spend your time playing Warhammer, that's fine. You can also use the application, that's also fine. But think of this as an alternative. It's like a practice dummy, something like that. Even though the thing actually understands strategy and understands the logics and the fundamentals of the game. So it's not such much of a practice dummy as it is really an opponent itself. The only thing that you're really doing at this point is throwing your own dice and making your own decisions on the side of your army, but he is making his own decisions, and you're just moving his chess pieces, so to speak. So it's a good alternative, just in case you need like you don't have an opponent that you're looking forward to, like start working the dynamics of an army. Maybe you get a new battalion, maybe you need a new army, you want to start trying new things, and you have nobody to just look for that possibility. Well, always look for an ChatGPT seems to work for me. I tried a couple of times with Meta, but the problem with Meta is this: it doesn't have image analysis. So it's like it really doesn't have an idea, and it's too much explanation to give them like the dimensions and the distances of the units, and there's no like clear visualization of what's going on. Obviously, perhaps you can try this with other AIs that have visual analysis. I don't know if Grok has. I don't know if other AIs have this possibility. ChatGPT does, and this is the one that I'm using at the moment. Perhaps later I'll make just two AIs fight each other. I don't know, but think of this as an alternative. It's not really like supplanting by no chance the encounter with another person. That is always going to be top Warhammer priority, but as an alternative, I think it works pretty fine. So that's it for this battle report, and I'll see you on the next one.